Let's bring Bob Weeks into the conversation now. And Bob, we were working the Ryder Cup together for SportsCenter all last week. And once Saturday was wrapped up, we thought, well, this thing is probably over, right? Right? Well, Sunday was one of the craziest days we've ever seen in Ryder Cup history. The U.S. almost pulled off the miracle comeback. What was your perspective on just a wild Sunday at the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, honestly, I showed up thinking, okay, this is going to be over early. We can, figure everything out. And generally, that's what happens on these things. That gets decided in the first, say, six matches or something. But shocked when I saw all of a sudden Justin Rose loses, and then you got, uh, uh, you know, Matt Fitzpatrick getting in there, and Rory getting in there, and Tommy Fleetwood in there. Those four guys leading off, and I'm sure Captain Luke Donald said, okay, this is where the clinching is going to be. And they got a half a point. And all of a sudden, you look down the list, and there's a whole bunch of red and not much on the other side. So it was a strange day, a very unusual day, and a nervous day. I think if you were on the international or the European team, excuse me, you would have seen all that red up there and thinking, oh my God, this is going to be like the worst disaster in Ryder Cup history if we don't pull this off. So, it was a pretty big fight from the American side to come back and try and do this thing. And I think for a lot of people, for a few moments there, they thought, okay, I mean, worst case scenario, maybe this ends in a tie. That would be a win for the Americans for sure.
And for the Europeans, just to only win one singles match on Sunday is just unheard of. Eight of the 11 singles matches going to the 18th hole as well. Certainly a wild Sunday at the Ryder Cup. But Bob, am I fair to say that Europe really won this over the first 2 days? I mean, when you carry a 7 point lead in the Ryder Cup after 2 days, this thing was basically over.
Yeah, I mean, basically, but again, you got to play them all. You got to play all the matches. But it was really a case of outplaying, being out motivated. It seemed like being out thought in terms of partnerships, pairings, where you're going to put certain players in certain spots. Out prepared. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened in those first 2 days, and including some questionable matchups from Keegan Bradley. The Colin Morikawa Harris English one didn't look good. Was at the bottom of the list when Data Golf ran permutations of who would be best to play with who on the American side, and just some other ones too. When you're trailing by a whole bunch of points, you put Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau, your two ultimately best players. You put them together so that they can only win 1 point together. I thought that was a strange mix-up as well. So I don't know. There just seemed to be so many things going Europe's way. And the best part of it, I think, was the putting that Europe put on. Because anytime an American guy sank a big putt, it seemed like the European guys would come right back on top and just kind of snuff that out. So that didn't last into Sunday, but those first 2 days, those first four matches, I mean, it was unbelievable how dominant the Europeans were.
It really was. And it's safe to say that their top dogs led them through the first 2 days, and they almost ran out of steam on that Sunday after all the emotion, all the effort that they had to give Friday and Saturday, not only on the golf course, but dealing with some crazy, boisterous, rude fans throughout. And Rory McIlroy was at the head of that. The amount of jeers, the amount of insults that not only Rory got, but his family got as well. What does it say about Rory McIlroy, Bob, that he was able to park that for the most part? There were some comments back and forth, and is still able to lead Team Europe the way he did.
Well, it says that he's matured as a guy playing in the Ryder Cup, and he knew coming in that he was likely to face something. I don't think he ever expected it to be as harsh, as personal, or as vindictive as those comments got. But I think he knew, and he said that one of the things that he really was trying to work on was trying to keep that balanced emotion. Now there were times, obviously, when it went over the edge, and he was just as good giving it back to the American fans as they were giving it to him. But I think it's just so unfair to have this beat down on him, to have these horrific personal comments that were lobbed his way. I mean, that is, I don't know how far you can go beyond the borderline, but they went way, way beyond this. The beer throw, or beer toss, whatever it was that time. We're not quite sure on that yet. We'll figure it out. But that, the squeaking of the little ducks, a lot of yelling and screaming in the top of his backswing. I mean, there were so many things that were just way offside, and it didn't really seem until he kind of put his foot forward that they came in to rectify it. Like this American competitors were at times. Justin Thomas, I'll give him credit. There were lots of images of him asking fans to be quiet. But you know those organizers should have had the police there right from day one. They know this is what's going to happen. You can't. It's not rocket science that they were going to be torching him. Maybe not. It was at the level they did, but really this is just atrocious organization from the PGA of America. Sorry to say that.
No, you're not wrong. And there were some ugly scenes out there for sure. Shane Lowry had to be held back a couple of times. Shane Lowry was swearing at fans too after making some big putts. Just a crazy atmosphere, especially that Saturday afternoon. Now, Luke Donald, Bob, we got to talk about him. Back to back Ryder Cup captain victories. What do you think it is about Luke Donald that he's able to pull out the best from his players?
Well, it's a little bit about the same of his personality. You know, he is a very organized, a very compartmentalized guy. He likes to make sure that everything he knows and does is in order. His clothes, his golf swing, you know, all this kind of stuff. It's just kind of who Luke Donald is. So he's, first off, a really good guy to have as a captain. I mean, it takes a big guy to come back after a big win and be the captain again for another 2 years. Don't forget, this is almost a full-time job. So there's a lot that goes in there, but I think he prepared and organized and really kind of motivated his players better than any Ryder Cup captain ever. I don't think that he left anything to chance. I think he really wanted these guys to win on American soil and put that all together. And I think that actually came back on him. The players wanted to win for him. The players really loved him. I mean, they're already, as soon as they finished up, they were talking about, okay, let's get Luke for one more year. So he didn't say no, by the way. He said he'd have to check with his wife. But it's a full-time job, and I think he did a marvelous job at it, more so than perhaps the American side.
Luke Donald has now been a part of 6 Ryder Cups, 4 as a player, 2 as a captain. He has helped win Europe, all 6 of those. He is a Ryder Cup legend.